Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful start to the fall and weekend. So we'll get started here. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Tom, actually, we talked about this. It's from Grant's Interest Rate Observer. Tom actually sent this to me, and I talked about it last week, return-free risk. So I hope you guys wrote that down. You're now using it with your clients. Return-free risk instead of risk-free return. So what's he talking about here, guys? What's Grant's Interest Rate Observer? What's he talking about here with return-free risk? Very good, Tom. Tom, you said it, didn't he? Yeah, get bonds. That's right, bonds. He's talking about bonds. So, guys, it's the key word and tricky phrase that right now bonds are giving you return-free, meaning no return, but is there risk with bonds right now? Yay or nay? Yeah, lots of risk. So this is a nice, fun, little turn of phrase that you can use with your clients. I want to talk a little bit, what do I think about financial planning software? What's my opinion of financial planning software? Like it or don't like it? Yeah, why don't I like it? Yeah, it's predicting. It's predicting. So, and we can't predict. We can't predict rate of inflation. We can't predict rate of return. We can't predict rate of expenditure. We can't predict any of that stuff. So by the time even if we did predict the rate of return, say we predicted a 7% rate of return, and for retiree it was a 7% rate of return, would it matter then? No, because if they're pulling money out with sequential with the risk of sequential man, that's hard. Sequence of return risk. Does it matter when you start pulling that money out? It could be very, very different. So I just want to show you. This is from the Journal of Financial Service Professionals, and they looked at the different retirement software. So that's a guided choice quick advice tool, Vanguard's retirement calculator, T. Rowe Price's retirement calculator, Fidelity's retirement calculator, Merrill Edge's retirement calculator. And what they found is when they put in the data, depending on what your annual income was, what your current savings was, etc. But look at the difference in the outcomes. So the difference from the lowest income prediction to the highest income prediction, is this a little variance or a huge variance? So little or huge? It's a huge variance. I mean, up to 3 times difference. So one predicted, if I can find the lowest, $1,570 per month, all the way up to $4,735 per month, $2,200 per month, up to $4,200 per month. So, guys, how much difference would somebody's retirement be if they got $2,000 per month and they thought they were going to get $3,756 per month? Little or a lot? So I do not like financial planning software, predictive software, because it gives people an idea, not an idea of that's false of what they should expect. So we do the 21-point checklist is what? We put them in the best position for where they are right now. And the next year, guess what we do again? We put them in the best position for what they are right now. Next year we do the same thing. And then with the sale software, we make sure they don't outspend their savings. That's all we can do, because making predictions about what they're going to make is instilling false sense of security, false hope, etc. with the client. You don't want to do that. Okay, make sense? So thanks to Michael, he sent us this little article from NASDAQ, the NASDAQ website. How annuities can protect lifetime income and mitigate retirement risk. Guys, would you have ever expected NASDAQ to be promoting annuities? So why do you think NASDAQ's promoting annuities? Because they know what? The NASDAQ is what? Well, you're right, Mark. They know annuities work, and they know the NASDAQ is volatile. So what's a perfect match? Having NASDAQ or stock investments with annuities. You need both. You need both. So even the NASDAQ is promoting the fact that you need annuities to balance out the risk in the stock market. So thank you, Michael, for sending that article. And we've got it down here where you can find that. But if you just Google how annuities can protect lifetime income and mitigate retirement risk, into Google, it'll pop you up there. So is this something that would be worthwhile sharing with a client who's skeptical about annuities? Yeah. So today's, I've got two main topics today. One is about people that are investing in the market right now because they think they're missing out, the fear of missing out, or the fear of missing out on hot stocks. First thing I want you to think about, guys, is we're about 2 months away from what? We're about 2 months away from what? Yes, Nick, the election. Well, I agree with what you said, David. David assigned a descriptive adverb to the election, which I would agree with. And what do you think is going to happen? First of all, is there going to be a landslide, or does it look like it's going to be right down the middle again? A little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side. Yes. And if it's in the middle, with the way everybody's conducting themselves, what's going to happen to the stability of society for a while after the election? So what is the market not like? So, I mean, I personally yanked out a huge, since we've had this big run-up, I was at about a 50-50, or it's 40-60, it's 40% in stocks and 60% in guaranteed, because I pulled out a lot in here earlier. But now, it ran back up again. I pulled out another big chunk out of the market. Why? The market is not going to like this election at all. It's getting closer and closer. People, both sides are going to be pointing the fingers at, if one side wins, what's the other side going to say? Bogus. And what the other side wins, what's the other side going to say? Bogus. And does it look like we're going to get an election with all the mail-in ballots and such? Does it look like we're going to get a final answer on election night? Guys, what is all of that going to do to the market? So having money in cash right now makes sense. Makes sense. Okay? So be thinking about that kind of stuff. If you had an investment that you thought would perform now. So now back to my main topic, though, is when people want to get into that hot stock or Bitcoin or whatever it may be, have them think about this. What if you had an investment you thought would perform at 50 times better than the market? Monster Energy drink, Tesla, Bitcoin. How would you incorporate that into your portfolio? Have you ever had clients that come to you and want to get into that hot stock, or talk to you about Bitcoin, or talk to you about Tesla? This is a great thing to walk through with them. Now, with that, are you going to be putting in a huge amount of money into Bitcoin? Are you going to be putting a huge amount of money into weed stocks, right, Bree? So you don't. So maybe because this is what they think is going to happen, right? So this is the rise in Bitcoin in 2017. Boom, 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 way up. So you're only going to put in the amount of money that you're willing to lose, right? So 5% max, Ron. I'm glad that you said, Ron, 5%. You're reading my mind. You're reading my mind. So the chart below shows how adding Bitcoin to a traditional stock and bond mix would have dramatically helped the overall performance. The purple line shows 100% of the money invested in 60-40 stock portfolio. So does that seem reasonable? 60-40 stock portfolio. Okay. So now what they're saying is, if you had just 5%, if you had 8% in Bitcoin, this is where you're with the 60-40, and taking 8% out of that, putting it into Bitcoin, you have the red here. Growth of $1, you would have been up 250%. 5%, you're up right here to double the return. 3%, you're up here. If you put nothing in Bitcoin, look at where you're at. So did it make sense to put 5% in? Now, again, first of all, can we predict, how many of us could predict that in January that it was going to do this by the following December? But, we have people that want to get into that hot thing. So what happened, though, in 2018 to Bitcoin? Went down. How much? A lot. Now, first of all, if you had put your money in here, because most of us wouldn't have been smart enough to get in December, right? But hindsight, guess what everybody wants to get in right here, right? So if they put in their money, what would have happened to their money? Because very few people are going to get in here. Most people are going to get in here. They would have lost a lot. They would have. So let's take a look at this. Just a 5% position in Bitcoin at the beginning of 2017 helped this hypothetical portfolio grow to the ending amount that was 40% more than a 60-40 portfolio loan. But this massive outperformance also came with a massive cost because Bitcoin began 2017 below 1,000, and by Christmas it reached 20,000. Shortly after, one of the most spectacular advances of all time came one of the most incredible crashes. A year-to-year peak collapse of 85%. It fell 85%. So if you got it in here, you would have lost how much of your money? Now, here's the thing, though. Let's say you did get in at the right time. The numbers below show an initial allocation of Bitcoin in January 2017 combined with the 60-40 mix and how much your total portfolio would have fell peak to trough. So even though Bitcoin is only 8% of your portfolio, how much did it fall at the lowest point? How much did not the Bitcoin, how much did your total portfolio fall? That was cut in half. At 5%, it was cut by 40%. So even though it was only 5% of your portfolio in January, because it grew to such a huge amount of your portfolio, when it did tank, it caused your total portfolio to fall by 40%. So how many people can stomach a 50 or 40% fall like that? Because how many people would have been smart enough to sell their Bitcoin in January? And because they sold their Bitcoin in December before the crash, hallelujah. But nobody would have done that. They're like, why would I get out of this? It's going to great. If it went to 2,000, it's obviously going to go to 10,000. So I mean, that's the way they think. So just a 3% position in Bitcoin would have led to a 30% drawdown. How is this possible? Because the incredible run in 2017 made it grow from an initial 3% of the portfolio to 34% of the portfolio. Do you get that? It's kind of like people who invested in Walmart in the early 90s maybe only had 5% of the portfolio in Walmart, but by the end of the 90s, how much did that Walmart become? Huge. Because it grew more than anything else. So that's at 5% would have grown to 47% of the portfolio, and 8% would have grown to 59% of the portfolio. And again, people would not pull their money out. Very few people are going to take, when it's going up like that, are going to take their money out. So they're going to watch it go all the way back down. So it's tough to experience if you're in it from the beginning. But most people would have been in at the beginning, or they would have been in after the run-up. When were most of your people talking to you about Bitcoin? In January of that year or at the end of that year? Yeah, after it peaked, yeah. Investors are forever searching for the next Apple, Amazon, or Netflix, perhaps without understanding that each of them have lost 75% at one point in their rise. If you actually do find one of these giant winners, you probably won't, but if you do, less might be more, because when it does fall, it can take your entire portfolio down with it. So here's an example of what's going on now. Tesla is worth more than Toyota, VW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, BMW, Honda, and General Motors combined. And look at this thing. Boom, boom, boom. Does it make sense? When you're driving down the road, do you see more Teslas or do you see more Toyotas, VFWs, Mercedes, Porsches, BMWs, Hondas, and et cetera? Which one do you see more? So does it make any sense for Tesla to be where it's at right now? And what's happening to Tesla right now? People are starting to realize, oh. So the only reason Tesla should be valued at this is if we think that what? That we think within 5 years, How many Teslas should be on the road? What percentage of cars should be Teslas within 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Yeah, is that going to happen? So why is Tesla screaming up like that? Because it makes sense, or are people emotional about buying Tesla? Yeah, fear of missing out, emotional about buying Tesla. So our job as advisors is to say what to our clients, or to do what with our clients? Their money, but what's our job with our clients? If they've got money that they don't care about losing, sure, put it in there. But they better be certain that they're what? Okay with what? When they say they better be okay with losing it all, right? So sure, let's get in a little bit of money in there, but make sure that they're using only that amount that they're willing to lose. Does that make sense? So these are things that are our job to facilitate our clients' understanding. And again, if half of the money is in a fixed index annuity, it gives them a little bit more elbow room to get into something like this because they at least have half their money safe. Make sense? Okay, so the second topic I want to talk about today is every self-help book ever boiled down to 11 simple rules. So we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. We talked about this before. Guys, how do you become great? With self-discipline? No, you become great with what? Habits. Good habits create good success. So when should you be doing your 15-minute drill? First thing when you get in. When should you be doing your workouts? When should you be doing your meditation? When should you get things into your calendar and do them at the same time every single day? Create good habits. Most of us aren't disciplined, myself included, are not disciplined enough to do good things all the time. So we have to create those habits, those routines, right, Kevin? Those routines. That's right, Ron. Small steps lead to big changes. Can we become awesome overnight? How do the world's best athletes, the world's best artists, the world's best whatever become that way? A little bit at a time, 1% a day. You should be getting 1% better at whatever skill you want per day or per week. Just get a little bit better. Constantly be taking those small steps, because small steps lead to big changes. As we talked about, if you get 1% better at the at motivation interview, 1% better at the 20-point checklist, how much better will you be a year from now? Yeah, 300%. Very good, guys. Awesome memories. Continuous improvement, Kaizen. You start out, let's see, how do we start here? Standardize work, make problems visible, develop countermeasure, which means what? You see the problem, figure out how you're going to counter that, determine the root cause, hypothesize a solution, test the hypothesis, implement a solution, and go over. So this is all fancy schmancy work. Kaizen is fancy schmancy for what? Understand what you want to do, try it, analyze it, and then what? Improve it, and then go through the whole thing again. It's like driving a golf ball. If you have a bucket of golf balls, and all you do is go and drive 50 golf balls, bam, 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 bam. Are you getting better? No, yeah, that's right, David. It's a tape review. So what you want to do is what? You hit a ball, and say, "Oh gosh darn, I shanked it. What do I need to change to not shake it?" Okay, boom. Hit another one. Oh shoot, I hooked it. Now what do I need to change to not hook it? Boom. Ooh, I topped it. What do I need to change? And you analyze every time you do something. You stop. That's right. The feedback loop. The feedback loop. The feedback loop. Just doing something over and over and over is that practice, guys. Doing something over and over and over is that practice. No, you could actually be what? We talk about habits. What could you actually be doing if you did something over and over and over without analyzing it? Be locking in a bad habit, making it worse, locking in that bad habit. So when you're practicing something, always stop after you do something and analyze, what did I do well? What could I do better? How could I do that better? Try it again and see if you can implement that doing it as a way that you thought you could do better. If you can believe it, the mind can achieve it, but not without a plan. So if all I do is I'm a daydreamer, if all I am is a daydreamer thinking, oh, I want to be rich, oh, I want to be successful, oh, I want to make $1 million next year, is that going to happen? No. You need to what? You need a plan. See, there is no such thing as the law of attraction. There is no such thing as the law of attraction. You can't just think success. What has to happen? You have to have a plan for success. You have to have a strategy for success. And as you're doing that plan, you work the plan, stop, analyze it. Is what I'm doing working or not working? What do I need to improve it? See, it's that whole feedback loop again. So you do need to start out with, you got to believe that you can do it. Because if you believe that the mind can achieve it, but not without a plan. You need a plan. You need a strategy. There's no such thing as wishing yourself to success. One of the most fascinating lessons I've absorbed about life is that struggle is good. But most of us do what? Do most of us seek out struggle, or do most of us avoid struggle? Yeah, we give up. We don't want things that are difficult. But the most fascinating, the best things in life come to you after the struggle. Always do what you're afraid to do. Always do what you're afraid to do. Why should you do what you're afraid to do? Because if you don't do what you're afraid to do, how much are you growing? Because growth requires you to get out of your comfort zone. So what's a good example of that? I had guys tell me, oh, I can't ask open-ended questions. Oh, I can't ask open-ended questions. Oh, it's hard. You can't teach an old dog new trick. And guys, what have I told you about open-ended questions? How quickly can I fix you to make sure that nothing comes out of your mouth except the open-ended question? How quickly can I fix you? That's right, a shot to the knee. If all I did was sit in the corner of your office with a loaded 45, say anything comes out of your mouth is not an open-ended question, I'm going to shoot you in the knee, guess what? Everything that comes out of your mouth would be an open-ended question. Now, would there be some awkward questions? Yes. Would there be some long pauses, maybe even a minute pause? So you're saying, shoot, now how do I translate this into an who, what, why, where, why, how question? How do I do this? I don't want anything coming out of my mouth without starting with who, what, where, why, when, how. It might be awkward pauses, but here's the funny thing. Not 10 years, not 10 months, not 10 weeks, not 10 days, not even 10 hours, but within 10 minutes, those awkward pauses would get shorter. Within 10 minutes, the questions would get better. So then why do we not do that? Why isn't everybody on this call an expert at open-ended questions then? Because during that first part of that 10 minutes, you're going to look like a what? During the first part of the 10 minutes, you may look like an idiot. That's right. You may look foolish. So guess what we won't do? We'll be less than, that's a better way to put it, Ron, less than perfect. That's right, Kevin, foolish. So we don't want to look, we're afraid to look foolish. We're afraid to look like an idiot. We're afraid to be less than perfect. So guess what we do? We avoid making a change. Making a change is always going to be what? Scary. Making changes, moving is scary. Changing jobs is scary. Changing the way we speak in front of a client is scary. But you got to do those scary things to get better. Next point the self-help books tell us. Don't judge too quickly. I am the most guilty person about this. I judge everything too quickly. But here's the thing. I've also trained myself to be able to argue both sides. You got to be able to argue. If you can't argue both sides, you should not be arguing. So how do we teach you to argue both sides? What's an example in the 21-point checklist or in the 5 key systems that we teach you to argue both sides? What's it? Getting closer. Very good, Ron. When somebody gives us an objection, the first thing we do? We say absolutely, and then what do? That's right, Nick. That's right, Bob. So what's the first thing we do? We say agree. Yeah, we say, yeah, absolutely, and then what do? We spend the next 2, 3, 4 minutes doing what? That's right, Nick. Telling them why they are right. We argue their point of view. If they tell us they hate annuities, we tell them why hating annuities is not understandable. Hating annuities is absolutely right based on their mindset. We tell them whatever it may be that hey, bonds are going to do well. Hey, we get on and say absolutely, and then we explain why they think bonds are going to do well. See, we gotta be. If you cannot argue both sides of the point, anybody on the call on debate in high school or college debate team. Going into the debate, do you know which side you're going to argue? They want you to be able to argue what? In debate, you need to be able to argue what? Both sides. Because if you can, how much are you at a disadvantage if you don't understand what's going on in their head? If you can argue their point of view, is that going to make you stronger or less strong in your point of view? That's going to make you much stronger. So you got to be able to, when you want to judge people, heck, we judge people all the time. Like, they're a tire kicker and a plate licker. What if we taught you about a tire kicker and a plate licker? They aren't the problem. Who's the problem? The tire kicker and plate licker, they're not the problem. Who's the problem? We are. We're the problem. Because do we have things that tire kickers and plate lickers want? Are we able to have a tire kicker and plate licker realize their guy is taking advantage of them? Their guy is not explaining or is hiding things on purpose because they're motivated to hide these things so they can make more. Is a tire kicker and a plate licker going to leave their advisor when they find out their advisor has screwed them? Yes, they are. But instead, when we don't get somebody, guess what we want to say? Oh, it's because they're a what? Tire kicker and a plate licker. See, we'd rather judge the client as being the problem instead of judging ourselves as being the problem. So, and then when it comes to tire kickers and plate lickers, yeah, they're part of the problem because they have their eyes closed. We're part of the problem because we don't have the skills to have them open their eyes. If there's I wish things were black and white, but there's no such thing as black and white. I can argue the Democrat side. I can argue the Republican side. I can argue the independent side. Is everybody right in their own mind? Yes, it's our job to help them walk through the logic of what they're doing. We have to be able to argue both sides. Next thing, be kind. For everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So we need to treat our brother the way we want to be treated. We need to treat our sister the way we want to be treated. It's the golden rule. And how much has too many people in the United States forgotten about this? We need to be kind to everybody. What's the good Lord? I mean, what is the good Lord want? How does He want us to treat those of you who believe in the New Testament? How does He want us to treat our fellow neighbor, our fellow person? Yes. And how many of us are walking today are doing this? The unfortunate thing is the news will always have this happy thing about somebody going way out of their way to help somebody. Guys, why does the news have it on there? Why does the news show that one person who gave up his high-paying job to start a nonprofit to feed the poor? Why do they show that? You're right, Mark. They need one positive. That's right, Ron. They need one positive story because it's rare. If everybody was doing it, it wouldn't be on the news. Everybody would say, well, yeah, everybody does that. It's sad. That's sad. Be part of the solution. Be kind to those around you. Why do self-help books tell you to be kind? That has nothing to do with you. Why does it tell you to be kind? Why does so many self-help books say be kind to those around you? It's amazing that when you're kind to everybody around you, guess what happens to you? it comes back. You get happy, and it comes back. You treat people better, they treat you better. You've all heard the story about the ferryman, right? Where a guy gets on, there's two cities, city on the west side and city on the east side. A guy moving from the east side to the west side gets on, asks the ferryman what? Hey, what are these people in the, you go from the east to west, what are these people on the west side, what are they like? What are these people in the town like? And the ferryman says, well, how are the people where you come from on the east side? How are they? Oh, they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. They're stuck up. They never talk to you. They won't help you. So what does the ferryman tell that person about the people on the west side then? No. Doesn't say they're nice. He says, they're horrible. They'll never help you. They're never whatever. Basically, guess what? No, he does not say the opposite. He says, you know what? Why? The ferryman says when the guy that gets on the ferry says, oh, they're horrible. They never help you. They don't trust you. The ferryman says, well, guess what? The people across the river, they're the same. Why does he say they're the same? Why does he say they're the same? It's a mirror. That's right, David. They're a mirror. Why are people treating him horribly, most likely? Why are people treating him horribly? He said, well, I won't repeat what Ron just said, but yeah, because he's not a nice person. He's treating horribly, so he gets that back. But when the ferryman, the guy gets on and says, what are the people across the river like? He says, oh, they're wonderful. They're always helpful. They smile. They're willing to bend over backwards for you. Guess what? He says, what did he say about them? Well, you know what? People across the river, the same thing. They're open-minded. Guys, it's amazing. When somebody's happy, guess what everybody around them is? Walk into a room and smile. Walk into a room with people who are not smiling and smile. What will everybody be doing soon enough? Have you ever been in an airport and somebody's laughing or people start laughing and what do you want to do? You want to laugh. So be the niceness, and niceness will come back to you. Remembering that you're going to die is the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You're already naked, and there's no reason not to follow your heart. It's kind of an odd thing, but several self-help books talk about this. Knowing, they all when we're on our deathbed and they ask, "What do you regret?" How many people say working that extra hour, not working hard enough at my job, not working 90 hours a week? How many people say that? So you got to remember that we don't, anything we gain in this life, do we take it out with us? No. So always remember, be mindful of what you're doing today. And if what you're doing today is not going to help you live a better life, should you be doing it? No. So we work at our jobs because we hope our jobs are going to make us rich, or that our jobs will give us a better life, provide better for our family, give us the ability to do the things that we want to do, and give our family the things we want to give them. It's not about being rich. It's about what? The things that it can do for us. So would you, in the last year of your life, be glad that you're doing what you're doing right now? So you need to ask yourself these things. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. I talk to guys about this. What do I think at a meeting about somebody who's wants to talk very professionally and can't laugh and doesn't want to really make fun of themselves and has to be very, very professional at the meeting? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? When you listen to me at a meeting, do I laugh? What's happening to my tone of voice? Do I tell a little story? Do I laugh at their jokes? Would anybody that would listen to a meeting of mine, do you think, say, man, that guy's really professional? Or would they say, that guy's kind of loosey-goosey? What do you think they would say? Very professional or a little bit loosey-goosey? I'm fine with that. I don't try to be professional by the way that I talk. I try to be professional by the way that I act. So you got to be able to loosen up. Be who you are. Say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So I want to give you a great indication of this. Oops, back. Let me get up here. Get up here. So this can't really care what people think about him. No, he doesn't. And you get like this guy in the green shirt, a couple of guys, they were ashamed of what he was doing. But what 95% of the people around him doing when he was like acting like this? Yeah. And, I mean, if you would ever looked at this guy, would you ever have guessed it that 95% of the people in the arena would think that he is the coolest guy just by looking at him? But after this, everybody's what? Digging him. So you got to be willing to just be yourself sometimes and let down that guard. And yeah, are 5% of people going to be like this guy in the green shirt who is ashamed to be around him are going to treat you that way? But 95% of people are going to think you're what? Awesome. For just letting loose a little bit, being willing to be happy and wild. Does that make sense? We talked about this, the golden rule, and I don't care what religion you are, they all have the golden rule. And guess what? They all revolve around. Be good to those around you. It reflects right back to you. The path to wealth is creating as much value as you can for others. So does wealth come to you from you trying to do things for yourself, or does wealth come to you from creating value and being of value to others? Others, that's the whole thing. How can you be of more value to others? The more you are of value to others, if you were in a job that you're working 9 to 5, if your son or daughter comes to you and says, I want to move up in the company, what do you tell them to do? Provide value to others. Become invaluable. When you're invaluable in a company, what's going to happen? That's right, Mark. Become invaluable. If you're invaluable in the company, what's going to happen? You are going to move up. You're going to get paid whatever you want to get paid because they know if they lose you, they are going to lose something that they're going to miss dearly. That's the same thing with us. The path to wealth is creating value as much as you can for others. And that's for money, that's for love, that's for friendship. Be of value to others. The cycle of 3 P's. Perfectionism leads to procrastination, leads to paralysis, and then repeat. So, guys, when you're putting together a marketing program, should you keep doing this and doing it and fine-tuning before you launch it? Or do you launch it, analyze it, critique it, make changes, and do it over again? Do you wait till it's perfect, or do you get out there when good enough is good enough, and then you adjust on the run? Yeah, action. That's right, Nick. Action. Too many people in our industry are constantly looking for the perfect thing, and then they procrastinate, and then they do nothing. And then they go and find another perfect thing, and then procrastinate, and then they do nothing. And then they go find another perfect thing, procrastinate, and do nothing. You're much better off with something that works half-ass and do it than something that you think is perfect and then constantly trying to nitpick at it. Make sense? Move forward. Follow this mantra. Chill, eat, exercise, and sleep. You got to find time to relax. You got to find or eat well. You need to exercise moderately. You need to get your sleep. Do these things, because without these things, doesn't matter how hard you work, you're not going to be working firing all cylinders. Dream to done. Write it down. Make it happen. There's so much power in writing things down. Do you want to type them down, or do you want to physically write them down with a pen and paper? If you want something to happen, what you need to do? Pen and paper. And this is feel good new age stuff, or this is proven in science that when people write things down, it holds more weight in their mind. Yeah, it's science. That's why we have clients write down on a postcard. That's why your dentist has you write down on a postcard when your next appointment is. Because when you write it down and they send out that postcard and see your handwriting, you're much more likely to show up. So when you want something to happen, well, every single day, what should you be writing down? If you want a productive day, what should you write down at the beginning of every day? Yeah, your to-do list. What are the 3 things I need to get done? Write those down. And here's the thing. Last thing, it's okay to ask for help. Actually, it's a smart thing to do. So should we ever suffer, there's one thing that will drive me crazy when I'm coaching a guy. He'll say, I've been doing this thing for 3 months. I've been doing the 21-point checklist for 3 months and it's not working. What do I tell that guy? What do I tell that guy? I've done 15 of these in the last 3 months and it's not working. Yes, why didn't you ask for help? Send me the tapes. Send Jeff the tapes. Guys, when something doesn't work and you know why it doesn't work, if something does not work and you know why it did not work, should you call up Jeff or myself at that point if you know why it didn't work? No. I mean, you already know why. But if you do something and it does not work, you should call Jeff. You should call myself so we can fix it. Here's the funny thing, guys. We've been doing this for 20 years now, 60,000, 70,000 times over and over and over. It always works. So if it is not working, that means that's a good thing for you. Why? If it's not working, it's a good thing. Because call Jeff, call myself, and we can tell you why it did not work. Because the worst possible thing is for you to send Jeff or myself a tape, and we say, I don't know, should have worked. I'm not sure why. So, Jeff, how many times have somebody taken you a tape where you're like, man, I don't understand why that didn't work?
No, you can always tell why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, you can always
tell
have
you ever
it doesn't work.
Have you ever refused help to somebody? Yes. And is it something that's beyond their reach to fix?
No, it's always something that's easily fixed.
Yeah. But if you don't know what's wrong, guys, can you fix it? So tape reviews are my favorite part of my job. I would do tape reviews all day long because it helps people get better at what they do. It's something that's black and white that we can fix for you. So it's always okay to ask for help. It's actually smart. So those are all the self-help books, and many of these things are repeated in all sorts of different self-help books to get better at your life, to get better at your business. Make sense? So everybody feel uplifted and ready to attack the week? You guys, I appreciate all of you. You have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.